Thanks for joining me as I travel the world, going from fine dining through to street food and local specialties, all in an effort to find the world's best seafood. Hi folks, a little bit of a different video today. Full confession, I visited this restaurant over a year ago, forgot about the footage. My editor went through it, sent me a draft, and then I found out I had recorded no audio on the day because it was a little restaurant and I didn't have a mic with me. So the whole thing needs voiceover, and to be honest, I don't know what I ate. I don't know what menu it was. I don't know how much it cost. I don't even really remember how each dish was, other than I overall enjoyed the place. So in what may be the most postmodern and kind of Gen Z thing ever, I guess you can consider this a reaction video to my own video, because I'm going to watch the edit he's sent me in real time and then just describe it to you. So let's go. Okay, so that is Ebisu. Now this restaurant I searched is the Matsue Ebisu East store. It's not the flagship store. I was just staying at a hotel nearby, searched what were good restaurants nearby. I found this one was 20 minutes walk away. It's down this little walkway. I remember that because it took me 10 minutes to find the entrance. When I got there, it was pretty quiet. There was, I think, a group of Italian women who seemed to be in town for some fashion thing by eavesdropping on their conversation. So first up, looks like, I have no recollection, we had a couple of oysters. I'm going to assume these are from the north of Japan. I don't know. They look reasonably small. They're not the giant size. They're not served on the shell. Based on my reaction, I don't look too fussed, but I bet they were yummy. Next up, a sashimi of whitefish with wakame, and it looks like a ponzu dipping sauce and some shiso flowers. Shiso is like the leaf you often get with sashimi, but you can eat the flowers as well, so you can put that into the sauce or onto the fish itself. The fish looks really nice anyway. Geez, I really have resting bitch face, don't I? You can't really tell if I'm enjoying it or not, and that is not the most flattering camera angle, looking straight up my hairy nose. Any bats in the cave? No, it seems okay. This looks like crab sushi, loosely packed crab meat with some of the roe and the guts in there with the green and the red. The smell is not to check that it's, if the fish has gone bad, it's just to enjoy the full flavor. I'll often give the food a good smell. I do remember that there was only like 8 or 10 seats, and then quite a few staff, and it looks like I just leant into the camera and said what fish that was. Oh, turning my audio on. So much ambience. So this looks like a crab, and that looks like snapper. A couple of different fish in a kind of a jelly type soup. It's not a chawanmushi, which is a steamed egg custard, but those things, let them cool down. That texture of that soup, I can tell you right now, I have ulcer in my mouth because I ate my lunch too quickly out of the oven. That kind of consistency of soup can really retain the heat and burn you like crazy. This is, I don't actually know, some kind of oily fish. If I lean into the camera to mention what kind of fish it is, then I'll let you know, but obviously I enjoyed that one. I was a little bit surprised. I tend to not love the oily fish in sashimi, but when it's really nice, then maybe the horse mackerel. And it looks like I just mouthed horse mackerel to myself. How nice. This really would be easier if I had known what each of the fish was, but well, I mean, what do you think? This is some kind of a professional presentation. That looks like baked miso cod, delicious. So when I checked all of the menus the restaurant's different menus, I didn't see this combination of food. I believe I was there on a weekday and their set menus seem a lot cheaper on those days. I'll be honest, black miso cod or miso black cod is like, it's like a litmus test. It's like getting butter chicken at an Indian place. It's really hard to screw it up. Most of them are like very good, but to get an excellent one is rare, and to get a terrible one is rare as well. So I'm going to assume it was delicious, but they always are. Then we're back to sushi. Oh, that was gone quickly, but I think that was the arc pen shell. This is abalone served in its own sauce. Looks like it's been steamed. That sauce is really rich. It can be a little bit bitter because they use the innards from the abalone. I don't really know which bit is which in an abalone. It's like an octopus. The whole thing, it looks like it's guts, and then it's just got a head. This looks like chutoro or otoro, medium or heavily fatty tuna. The heavily fatty one that has the tendon in it and stuff, putting those lines in it like you saw, actually really does help often with the tenderness, despite being really fatty, and the fat has a low melting point. It can be quite chewy because of all of that fat and tendon in there. Ooh, speaking of some super gooey looking uni, that looks super puffy and soft and tender, and if it was good quality, then I'm sure it was delicious as well. Sometimes it looks a lot more dried out and more like a brain. That looked like a really well hydrated slug or something. Miso soup, another piece of nigiri. Oh, look how tiny that soup is when you see my hands. And then this again, a different kind of scallop. Here served just in the piece of nori paper. Nice, but it can actually be really dry. Having a little bit of rice, or even, it depends if they basted it with much sauce, that kind of seaweed itself is like bone dry, because as soon as it isn't, it goes all crinkly. What am I leaning in and saying there, I wonder? Yeah, but a good scallop is really hard to beat in my opinion. I think I'm wearing the same hat that I was that day. How fun. Then giant cooked shrimp. The really big ones in the fancy restaurants often cut them in half for you to have in 2 different portions. That's some kind of arc shell, that, I don't know, it looks like an alien. And then some tamago, the egg. Looks like I outlasted everyone at the restaurant by the looks of that. I look hungry and bored and maybe unsatisfied. I was eating a lot at that time, despite looking up at me. I look really skinny. I always have a really skinny neck, but it belies the big belly that's down there. I don't really know. It's a creative choice on the editor leaving that gap there. I'm guessing maybe I was feeling like it was a long delay for the next dish. Then we have the diced up fatty tuna with the daikon radish. They're put into a little bowling pin configuration of 6 pieces. Again, this one is really hard to screw up. The only way that you can really elevate it is by, well, I guess like every dish, how well each of the individual things are. If the radish is too big or too small, too salty or too watery, it's not very nice. The quality of the tuna obviously varies, but most sushi chefs agree that rice is at least 50% of the importance of nigiri. In that kind of a one, then the seaweed also is in there, so it's probably a third between the 3 ingredients, or a quarter each once you factor in the radish that one has as well. Obviously I wasn't drinking that night, so I don't know what the damage was. Who knows? The damage was to my memory, because I don't even really remember that meal. What do you think of that? Doing a little reaction video to my own video. I feel very 18 years old, and I should open a TikTok account. You reckon? Anyway, you've been commenting that I need to put out more videos and that I've been gone too long. There you go. You got what you asked for. I will get out and keep trying new restaurants again and try to actually talk to the camera as I'm eating, so that you can get my thoughts at the time rather than my 1 year later thoughts. Let me know what kinds of food you'd like to see. I'm headed off to Central Eastern Africa next week. I don't know that I'm going to be eating a whole lot of seafood, but hopefully I can film some interesting meals to bring you from there. So please do, if you haven't already, like and subscribe for your seat at the table for my future adventures to find the world's best seafood.